Welcome into SportsCenter's coverage of the NCAA women's title game. Glad you are here with us, Trey Wingo, alongside Carol Lawson and the coach, Carolyn Peck. In almost every way, this game was exactly the opposite of what we saw from the men's title game on Monday. There was offense, and oh, by the way, when you have Texas A&M, there was plenty of defense. Let's show you how it all unfolded here inside Conseco Fieldhouse. Devereaux Peters back in for the first time since 2001. Gary Blair for the first time.
It's your game, it's your national championship. We've got to go get it right now, but you have got to feel it right now. Second is last. We're going for first.
And in the first half, they created a lot of those turnovers with defense. Becca Brashevsky loses the ball out of bounds. Now Notre Dame down 2. Brashevsky throws the pass away. And now they're down 10, the Irish are, and Natalie Novosel called for the offensive foul. The fact bar says they had 7 turnovers in the first 6.5 minutes. But then they settled down, Carolyn, because they went to the post.
Well, they finally they knew they had a size advantage inside with that precious defense on the perimeter. That was what was working for the Irish.
Devereaux Peters there, and then Skylar Diggins digging it. Notre Dame actually led by 2 at the break. They were undefeated going into this game when they had the lead at the half. But in the second half, Danielle Adams gets going. Post turnaround, they're up by 1. Now A&M up by 1. It's Adams again gets it to roll. A&M up 3. Under 5 minutes to play, Skylar Diggins does what she can.
Well, we had an All-American shootout in the second half. Adams for A&M, Diggins for Notre Dame. They made big play after big play.
1-point game there, and now Diggins hits the jumper and is fouled. The free throw is no good. We're tied at 66. Skylar had 23. Next A&M position. Sydney Colson misses the 3, but Adams again there. She had a school record 30. A&M back up 2. And now Adams dribble off glass. Yes, 9 boards, 22 of her 30 in the second half. Just over a minute left in the game. A&M up 2, trying to beat the shot clock, and it's missed. Big shot. Tyra White had the buzzer beater against Stanford. A dagger 3 there. They're up 5. 30 seconds to play. A&M up 3. Colson loses the ball on her hip. Ball turns over. Next Notre Dame possession. They've got to get something. Instead, they get nothing. Another turnover. The defense for A&M coming through again and again. The Irish forced into 16 turnovers, and Vic Schaefer, the architect of that Aggie defense, breathes a heavy sigh of relief. Yes, Danielle, you are number 1 as the Aggies, for the first time in school history, win the NCAA Women's Basketball Championship. They did it in typical Aggie style with defense and a lot of Danielle Adams. 30 points, 22 in the second half. Gary Blair, your coach of the national champions.
Those Aggies, God, we came back. We had a bad 10 minutes in the first half. We found a way to come back, and Danielle got the ball inside. But to win a national championship for A&M, it's probably about as good as how many you won, Rebecca.
I knew I had to take over, and that's what I did. I wasn't going to let my team lose this game.
You had 8 points in the first half. You came back and finished with 30 points. I'd say that's taken over, but how were you able to do it?
Just dominating inside. I knew they couldn't stop me inside, so that's what I did. I took it inside. Coach told me, don't never step back out again. I was like, okay. And he said, just work inside, and that's what I did. My teammates got me the ball.
Again, Danielle Adams, the leading scorer during the season, had struggled during the tournament, but she showed up in a big way in the championship game. She scored a new tournament record for a single game and scores more points than she did combined against both Stanford and Baylor. She also made more shots in the title game than she had in those previous 2 contests. You know, we talked a lot in the pregame about this Texas A&M team being a great ensemble. But you know what, Carolyn? When push came to shove, they needed their biggest star to play big, and she played huge.
And the big girl went to work in the paint. Gary Blair helped her out and said, listen, no more outside shots. You don't have to make that decision. You go down low in the paint and demand the basketball. And that's exactly what she did. You even look at her getting good position in advance on the offensive glass. I can remember watching in the earlier games in the tournament, she was fading away and not going to the glass, but this time she went right to the paint. She followed the orders, she trusted her coach, She believed in him, that he knew what needed to be done to win a championship, and that was for her to do work in the paint, whether it be scoring on the block or getting the offensive glass, and it paid off big time for the Texas Aggies.
No question about it. And if Danielle did the bulk of the work, once again for the second straight game, it was Tyra White. I mean, she had the layup against Stanford and comes up with that huge three down the stretch.
She's got great timing, and she was steady offensive force for this Texas A&M Aggie team during the Final Four. Tyra White and her ability to make outside jump shots and also create off the dribble. We've seen that in both games here, but Tyra White helped this team in the second half. When A&M's offense got a little stagnant, you see she could take you off the dribble, much like she did in that Stanford game down the stretch, and her ability to knock down that outside shot, space the floor, and you know what else it did? It opened it up for Danielle Adams, and this was a dagger right here. I mean, this put the nail in the coffin, gave Texas A&M that national championship. But if Tyra White is not hitting those jump shots, that does not allow for one-on-one coverage in there for Adams and the ability for her to do work in there.
Yeah, and a big reason why the Aggies shot almost 55% from the floor was because she was getting, Danielle Adams was, such good position in the paint, and as you said, opened it up for Tyra White. Ms. Big Shot one more time to knock it down. Listen, I guess the 60s are the new 40s. Monday night, Jim Calhoun became the oldest man to win the NCAA championship with the men, and now doing the Dougie, Gary Blair, the oldest to win it for the women.